When you go to Urbino, that is important to perceive is how much the Palazzo Ducale is an extension of the city, and how much the city is the palace. Those words are difficult to understand, so you can watch this film until the end, then try to ask yourself what means palace extended to city or city as palace means. If you don't understand even with this film, go to Urbino by car, arrive from the southwest hills, park the car under the ancient walls, walk up the spiral ramp by Francesco di Giorgio Martini, a great global author, and then climb up again to the square on the main road. In this way you can probably begin to understand the complex architectural system totally in correspondence to the urban system. Another word would be necessary to establish this formulation of space, so probably you can try with city palace, written all together in Italian.
Da qui davanti a quel muro che sta dietro 76 metri, ma 76 metri vuol dire più del doppio del cortile comune. All'inizio, quello è 32, di più, rendere una grandissima profondità per l'idea dello spazio, sempre con queste linee.
Non c'è ispirazione a qualcosa di esistente, tutto fantasia questa.
No.
The one I love above all others, from all Piero paintings, the one that satisfies me more and more each time I see it, is the flagellation of Urbino. No feeling appropriate to the event is expressed in the faces or bodies of either the participants or the trio in the foreground, and yet their impenetrability, their silence inspires in us a reverent wonder at the matter they are made of, not flesh and blood, perhaps of a matter akin to that of the exquisite architecture, of the friezes and ceilings and floors and columns, which seem to be carved in hard stone. One is almost tempted to conclude that Piero was not interested in human figures as living, acting, sentient creatures. For him, there were three-dimensional existences, which perhaps he would have replaced without regret with arches and pillars, capitals, cornices and punctuated walls. In truth, it is in his architecture that Piero betrays something like a lyrical feeling. He paints in you what he cannot hope to realize, the dream of environments worthy of his mind and his heart, where his soul can feel at home. If these words of Bernard Berenson were actionable, we can say that Piero's flagellation anticipates the idea of the Palazzo Ducale as a city palace, and today's spectators experience the city palace from inside and outside, and then again from inside and outside, and then again from inside and outside. The ideal city, on the other hand, is not representative of the palace, and its clumsy central architecture does not place it in continuity with the city palace, at least in appearance. In fact, I believe that its origin is unknown because it is the unsuccessful attempt of an unaware and unknown author, if not more than one, who ends up decorating and not implementing an idea. In fact, if ideal, he has no ideas, and may not really be an important global author. Having said this, the work enjoys great consideration, so much so as to be an icon of the Renaissance. This value lies in the definition of this painting as a place of living death, as said Laszlo Fondegni, and perhaps others. This profile could be an antithesis of city palace and therefore, in fact, be the reverse of the coin, and this would establish the ideal city as the fulcrum of city palace. It could be or not. The painting of the ideal city does not invade the emotional profile. Today's spectators remain passive present, with all evidence. The studiolo is the fulcrum of city palace. That's right, the studiolo is Urbino. Remember to organize your trip, passing by the studiolo. I am certain that the study that took place in the inlaid rooms of the studiolo was not bibliographical study, but unconscious learning. Today it is possible to see a show about works by Federico Barocci, a great global author. The important thing is to know that Barocci is a rare figurative researcher. Placing him as a bridge between the cornerstones of institutional art history is equivalent to not wanting to perceive the author and therefore catalogue him. Barocci is a researcher of form, color, and space. The lights of the exhibition do not render the original optical genius of the painted works, but in the drawings the graphic sign, happily brought back to Urbino, leads to revealing and highlighting happy aesthetic instincts. In any case, Barocci is an author who most likely lived in the city palace. He understood the idea of the city palace, and who knows if in the spatiality of the articulated composition of his work there is a foundation of the city palace. In order for this film to be of any use, the hope is that it is so. The great theatre of art becomes the great theatre of the city, but this film wants to fight this dichotomy, and make sure that the theatre's scenography is not a palace or a city, that the dramatic gesture of the protagonist is not a person or a car, but rather the theatre is a varied and continuous one. The drama is one, varied and continuous. The word drama has understood etymologically as movement. To complete City Palace and your visit, it is suggested to interpret the mausoleum outside the walls as the completion of City Palace towards the hill, the consecrating temple, so in the original intentions and in fact still, they are complementary visions of those who lived this valley as a varied and continuous unit, a central architecture and, at the same time, reaching out towards the palace. This is a very important shot to conclude the complex drama of this film.